Unit 2 Review, Problem 5. According to a recent Gallup poll, about 15.5% of adults worry about their weight all of the time. What is the probability that the number of students who worry about their weight all of the time in a randomly selected class containing 32 college students falls within 2 standard deviations of the mean? So to answer this question on what is the probability, we recognize that since an adult can either worry about their weight all the time or they don't, that is, there's just 2 possible outcomes, we can use the binomial probability distribution to answer this question. The binomial probability distribution requires the input of 3 variables, n, p, and x. Here, n, the sample size, is the randomly selected class containing 32 college students. And p, the proportion, is the 15.5% or 0.155 decimal of adults who worry about their weight all the time. To find the value of the random variable x, we need to look at the question. What is the probability that the number of students who worry about their weight all of the time in a randomly selected class containing 32 college students falls within 2 standard deviations of the mean? So the random variable x in question must fall within 2 standard deviations of the mean. That is, it must fall in the interval that ranges from a low of the mean minus 2 standard deviations up to the upper level, the mean plus 2 standard deviations. To get the values of this interval, we need to calculate the mean and the standard deviation for a binomial distribution. Now we know that the mean mu for a binomial is equal to the n times the p. So when you take the n of 32 times the p of 0.155, we get 4.96 for our mean. And the standard deviation sigma for a binomial probability distribution is calculated by taking the square root of the quantity n times p times 1 minus p. In this case, we would take the square root of the n of 32 times the p of 0.155 times, left parenthesis, 1 subtract 0.155, close parenthesis. When we press enter, we get a standard deviation of 2.05. So now plugging in the values for the mean of 4.96 and the standard deviation of 2.05, we can find the interval for which it falls within 2 standard deviations of the mean. The lower value is 4.96 subtract 2 times 2.05, which equals 0.86. The upper value is the mean, 4.96, plus 2 times the standard deviation of 2.05, which equals 9.06. So any number of students that falls in this interval from a low of 0.86 up to an upper level of 9.06 will fall within 2 standard deviations of the mean. So the probability that the number falls between 0.86 and 9.06, that is, within 2 standard deviations of the mean, can be calculated by entering the following command on the TI-84 calculator. To do this, we press second vars to bring up the probability distribution menu, arrow down till we reach binom CDF, press enter to select. Then you type in the number 32, comma, 0.155, comma, 9.06, close parenthesis. Subtract, second vars, arrow down to binom CDF, enter, 32, comma, 0.155, comma, 0.86, close parenthesis. And when you press enter, you will see the answer. Here, rounded off to 3 places after the decimal, you would get 0.976 or 97.6%. So now we can answer this question. Thus, the probability that the number of students who worry about their weight all of the time in a randomly selected class containing 32 college students falls within 2 standard deviations of the mean, 97.6% of the time. Now you might have noticed that in the commands I presented here in the solutions, I used 9 for the upper level instead of 9.06, and 0 for the lower level instead of the 0.86. I did this because the binomial probability distribution is discrete. That is, the number of students who worry about their weight can only take on whole numbers only. So, since we can't get 9.06 students, but we can get 9 students who worry about their weight all the time, I entered the 9 in the first binom CDF command. Then, when we subtract the second binom CDF command, we entered in 0. That's because we can't have 0.86 of a student worry about their weight. But the question was, the number of these students who worry about the weight all the time has to fall within the 2 standard deviations of the mean. Here, 0 falls outside, or to the left of the interval, because 0 is less than the 0.86. So 0 is not included in this answer. So that's why we subtract the binom CDF command using 0 as the x value, because we're taking it out of the answer because 0 does not fall within the 2 standard deviations of the mean. But 1 does. 1 is greater than the 0.86, so it does fall inside the interval and is included in the answer.